Right, so coming up in our next sale at the granary here, which is next week, is some very interesting items. It's probably one of the most ranged and varied sales that I've seen for a long time. But starting off is this very peculiar statue we have here. It'll probably take you a few seconds to realise what exactly they're doing. I think we've listed them as intimate wrestlers, but he's obviously this chap's upside down, and yeah, I probably don't have to explain it anymore apart from pointing there. But that's one of the peculiar and interesting items we have in. Funnily enough, it's with a candlestick telephone for all your interior design needs. And the lot will probably be £50 to £80, something like that. Nice and affordable. Plenty more to look around here. Coming straight down the aisles, what do we have to start off with? Shoes. We've got a nice collection of binoculars and cameras here, vintage ones. Black Forest bears, and some lovely train sets in this time as well, and lots of vintage records. We had a few of these records that sold extremely well last time. We've got another bunch in now, about 10 lots again in this sale, all with some very good records inside, so well worth the flick through if you're coming in to look at those. What else do we have? Oh yes, the train sets that I mentioned. So we've got one here, Ace Trains. And it's in its original box here. Look at that, absolutely pristine. Completely unused. I reckon that's just sat in its box and someone's bought it. And that's worth between £300 and £500, that locomotive. Really nice condition. What else? Fantastic enamel sign at the back here. It's a French television enamel sign. Absolutely gigantic, and it's in really good condition as well for the size of it. And that's in at only £100 to £150 for something that size. It's really worth a few hundred for that. What else do we have? Coming along the first table of the sale here, so starting from lot number 1 over in the corner, this is where the sale starts. Another enamel sign, which is lot number 1. Will's Woodbine cigarettes. Quite common, but still £50 to £80 worth. What else have we got? Oh, fantastic. It's sort of a scrap album here. And it's early 20th century. But until you look inside, you won't really realise what it's like. Look at that. These are all hand-drawn pen and ink sketches in between the cards here, so that's one pen and ink sketch, and this album just goes on and on. It's absolutely amazing. And it has some small oil drawings and oil paintings in as well. Look at that, from 1926. But there's just so much crammed into this album. Every page is completely different. This is obviously a layout of a school. We've got loads of different things in here. Prefect shush. Prefect's room. It's just so interesting. And that's only in at £50 to £100 for such an amazing small hand-written and drawn album of scraps. Another thing that I love here, an owl. He's Black Forest, and his head tilts up. He used to be a tobacco jar, but you can fill him with all your trinkets. He's absolutely amazing. Carved wood. He's in at £100 to £150. There's so much to look around here. We'll just quickly run across the front row and see what else we've got. Plenty of nice small objects in this display cabinet. Just pick out one that catches my eye straight away. That's carved ivory. This is a parasol handle. It's frogs and toads climbing up a tree. That's completely hand carved. It's 19th century. And that's in at 100 to 150. Lot 128. Oh, there goes the number. Small Victorian copper jelly moulds. They're always quite cute. Lots of knives and weapons here as well. More carved ivory. Got an American trench knife here. This is a real gruesome thing. So this is a First War trench knife and scabbard. So if you manage to get as close as the enemy trenches, this is what you'd be using, with the brass knuckle dusters and a spike on the end for impaling. Really gruesome. And that's in at £100. What else? Let's have a look at through some of the ceramics over here. We saw some earlier while we were just scanning through. Starting off with this pair of Bristol blue glass decanters. Aren't they fantastic? All in good condition as well. Brilliant. I suppose £50 to £80 for the pair of those, which are great mantelpiece items. And then another thing around here, where was it? Here it is. Look at that for a stylish tea set. So this is Cosmic Design Works. They're brilliant. With teardrop shaped mugs and a sugar bowl. I suppose that'll be around £40–50 for that set. Plenty to look through. The best thing to do is look online for this sale or come in. We'll just have a quick look downstairs at the furniture, at a few bits that we can point out down there. So the first piece that you'll see as soon as you come through into the main furniture room here is this absolutely gigantic pine office set here with tambour rolling fronts. And I'll tell you this, I carried this in myself and it doesn't actually weigh as much as it looks. The base is all one piece, but the top comes in two separate pieces. It's an amazing piece of furniture, and I'm sure in its day probably would have cost a few thousand at least. It's in now at around 1,000, but really it's got to go on the day, so who knows what it'll make, but it's a fantastic original piece of pine furniture. What else can we find that's a bit more houseable in the room? Lovely sets of modern chairs. I know we've got lots of Danish furniture in this time, some really nice bits, including this sideboard over here. This is Danish rosewood and it's mid-century. Got a permit certificate because you have to have a certificate for mid-century rosewood nowadays. But that's completely original. And I think it's in at about £600 to £800, but very stylish furniture at the moment. From the same maker is this smaller chest of drawers, sort of a plan chest, and it's double-sided as well. It's a double chest of drawers. Same maker. This one is, funnily enough, from a separate vendor, and is in at around £200 to £300. So again, a really nice, stylish piece of furniture there. Some fantastic studio lights at the back, for lighting up your house and the garden. What else? Quite like this. A sort of swivel coffee table. So if someone else needs the popcorn, you can swivel it round to them. That's really nice. Love that. Another fantastic dining set here. Glass top and a plastic base. What else? There's just so much to look at. I think we've got about 4 rocking horses in this sale as well. So you'll have to come down and try all those out. Another nice mid-century piece of furniture. Again, this is Danish rosewood. And it's got its original maker's label on the back there as well. I think it's Kado. That's a very good maker for mid-century furniture, and that's in at around £500 to £800, I think, something along those lines. And just because mid-century furniture is extremely saleable nowadays, I'll point all of it out. This is probably one of the most interesting things out of the entire sale to do with mid-century furniture. This is rosewood again, and it's an office desk, quite clearly. Unfortunately, no maker's name or labels on this one, but it's extremely well made, and it's got a nice alcove around the back here as well. And that's in, I believe, at 1,000 to 1,500, that one. Absolutely gorgeous. Lots of different 19th century chests of drawers, which are now really coming to under £100 each. What's the point in going out to a furniture store and buying one for a few hundred when you could just come here and buy one for 50 to 80? It's a bit of a no-brainer, really. Nice Chinese hardwood bookcase here as well. They're always really good sellers. Corner cabinets. There's just so much to look around. I'll probably leave it there for the moment. Best thing to do is to have a look online at the catalogue or come in for the viewing days. But do have a look, and we look forward to seeing you at the sale.